Getting a grade on a test that is not your test score. We currently have a system in which teachers and schools are assessed by students' performance on tests, and many, like disdain, might not care about how they perform and have little to no understanding of the negative consequences for their schools or teachers if they don't perform well. Zach Dawes, 2019. We have all had spent wasted hours on testing. Standardized testing is the wrong way to test teachers. Students have different backgrounds, schools have different fundings, and test affects students more negatively than it does positively. Students are affected by things outside of the classroom that teachers have no control over. Some things can be like the way their family is ran, if they have different backgrounds, such as like they have two moms, or they have one dad, or they're raised by four parents if there's a divorce and there's step parents and everything else, and their living situation changes frequently, which causes them to not always necessarily be able to be focused on what's going on in the classroom and necessarily as to what's going out on the real world. Sometimes students have more important things to worry about than school when they're in school, as sad as that is. Another thing is that teachers are assessed not in a fair way because schools have different fundings, meaning there's rich schools and poor schools. So there's different resources, access to those students. They're not all getting like the fair treatment overall. Some students have tutors and they can provide those for free and all that. And students can get extra help and they have a greater access to knowledge because there's more for them to reach out to and claim, and overall they're not necessarily getting the same learning, which is why it's not a fair way to assess teachers on one test, being that one school has more funding and can afford iPads for all their students and the other school can barely afford to get little whiteboard things for their students and whatnot. And tutoring's a large thing in that because you can get extra help, but you can't get extra help at other schools. And the other problem with testing would be that it's negatively on students because teachers are given a list of content and they're focused on getting all their content in than they are on anything else. So they have a habit of forgetting what they want to do, and they ended up teaching quality over quantity instead of going in depth and giving students the actual knowledge they need and going and giving them like good solid knowledge. They just get a run through. They don't really get the full coverage. They're not getting in depth. They're not getting to ask questions about why something is the way it is. They're just getting told this is how it is. That's how it goes. We don't get to ask questions. It's just what it is. Teachers are playing the same game on different ball games with different teams and different cheerleading groups, yet they are expected to get the same scores. There is more to how a student learns than just the teacher. Students' learning is affected by their personal lives, their school district, and it's doing more damage to them than good. Standardized testing is the wrong way to assess a teacher. There should be a way to assess teachers, but it should not be with standardized testing.